Well, look at the fancy weather we have going on out here. Ain't gonna be any chopping today. So that's got us in the shop. It's Saturday. And we might, just might finish this 40/20 up. Now we've been doing other jobs that just rank in priority above and beyond this. So that's why we have not finished this unit yet. Jared's waiting for some parts for the engine on this Mack. He does have this differential to put together, but he can't come in with a forklift and put that in because this tractor's in the way and he'd like to pull it outside. So we've got a decal kit here for it. He has, he's got these lights. They were going, but we had too much paint on the fender mounts. And as you can see, those LEDs are gonna be bright. Not that this thing's gonna be working at all at night, but they're on there. Another project that we are working on that ranks a little bit more in priority than the second Freightliner is we are doing a wheel seal on truck 18. I shouldn't say we, but Nate. And then one of the other jobs, if you recall, 2 weeks ago, we ended up working on the tool carrier, the coupler for the payloader. And I said, we're gonna buy a new one. And we ended up getting the new one, and Sarah went and picked up that yesterday. Now, I edited it out of the video, but when we worked on this exactly 2 weeks ago today, I ended up folding the hydraulic hoses up into the bucket arm, and it did not make for a good day. So this was the only unit that was available, and this came from Tag. No, that doesn't say fag, it's Tag. This was $4,200. It will be the second one that we have put on the 624 loader. And it's actually, it was cheaper than the last one we put on. And it looks like it's just about as heavy as the one that we have on there now. The last one, the first one, this part to it here came down and it stopped right here. It didn't go all the way, and it ended up breaking out. And that's why we had to replace the last one. And then this time around, it's just, it had a lot of age on it. So it seems like anymore when you buy an expensive whatever, they put it on a junk skid. They put it on the worst skid that they have around anywhere. And that is how, that is how it came. So just luckily we were able to get it back off of the pickup, but it is rather heavy. I would have to imagine that weighs about 1,000 pounds, and between here and there, the trucking companies more or less have destroyed it. But these guys that run around these trucking warehouses, they skid the skids on the ground, they run into stuff, they just, you know, the pallets, they don't last. So what I have to do is I have to make up a bracket for this one side of the, well, Nate's whacking on things with a hammer there, so you might not be able to hear me that great, and I apologize. I have to make up a bracket to hold the faster coupler here. So I'm thinking I'm gonna be able to use 5-inch channel. However, I've got to see how things pan out once we get that on the machine. So we're gonna run up, grab that payloader, bring it down, unpin the old one, take off our hoses that go to the actual locking cylinder, which the other one, I don't know as if that came with a locking cylinder, if we had to move it around or not, but they said this one wasn't gonna have the lock cylinder on it. But at any rate, we're gonna go ahead and switch this out quick. Being that it's raining, we don't need to have that thing break on a good day of chopping here. So let's go ahead and get this switched out. All right, we have moved our operation outside here. It has stopped raining for the moment. And I wanted a little more maneuverability with using the forklift to be able to get this old one off of there and then put the new one on. Now, I ordered 3 brand new pins, but of course they did not come with this coupler here. So what we're gonna have to do is get some new pins and swap them out once they come in. So I got the forklift underneath it. We're gonna pull this center one out first. We'll have to drop it down, then get underneath the whole thing. I've got it tipped forward as far as I can get it, the loader that is, and that's just the way we're gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to clean these pins up just so that I don't gouge the heck out of the new coupler. This center link here has got a, I think there's a replaceable bushing in there that might, or bearing rather, that might have to be replaced. We've got to look at that and see what that's like. I've got my hoses pulled up out of the way. I'm not going to fold them in here again. So let's just go ahead and pull these pins out and get this old one off of there. And then there's a little bracket that goes on the lock cylinder that we have to move over to this lock cylinder here. Well, we have our new coupler all set to be pinned back onto the machine here. We had to move some fittings around and whatever for the hydraulic locking mechanism. We just had to take this elbow fitting off of here and this little bracket so that the hoses can be hooked up right here to lock and unlock the bucket. Now we've got our arms cleaned up. Well, they're not cleaned up entirely, but what I need to do is get some new bushings and bearings here, but we're just going to run with what we've got here now, and we can change that at a later date. I was supposed to get new pins, but they didn't send them along. These bushings really, the bearings that are in here aren't that bad. That center one's the worst one. Here's what the old pins look like. The center one is worse than the other ones. That is really wore there, but it's, however, it's not too bad on the ends where it's going to actually go through the new coupler and the other pins are somewhat decent, but I want to replace them anyways. I just want to get this new coupler on there so that if the weather allows us next week to actually get into some hardcore chop and we don't have to worry about this thing breaking and slowing us down. So we'll go ahead and guide it back in there and put our pins in, and we'll get this job here done. All right, so we've got everything switched over onto this. I ended up welding the bracket on here to hold that faster coupler, and that runs our rollout bucket, and it also runs the defacer. Now we've got to get some spacers because this one is spaced a little farther than what the other one is, and then we've also got to replace the 3 pins that go to it. So we're just going to have to keep it greased up really well and go from there. So we're going to go up and put the bucket on it now, make sure that fits, and that'll do it for this job here. Well, that's what it looks like with the bucket on there. It fit. When we originally got this bucket, the tab that the lock pins go through, we ended up having to cut them out a little bit because they didn't quite fit. We also replaced one of the lock cylinder hoses that was kind of dry rotted, so we replaced that and got that on there. And as you can see, we're getting some nice rain. Not that we need it, but we better get back down to the shop here.
I don't know, I don't think it'll look bad. What do you think?
All right, this is somewhat of an unfamiliar sight, being that 4020 has moved out of its parking spot where it's been parked for the last, I don't know, 6 months. Jared's got the sheet metal on it that goes out and around, oh, the rock shaft or the SCVs or whatever. However, we forgot to paint the cylinder hooks, so we've got to get them painted, get them on there. The next thing we're going to try to tackle here tonight is we're going to try and get the canopy put on it. We've got to get the correct bolts, or just cut these carriage bolts off that hold the weights on. And we've got the decals to put on it as well. But before we do that, we need to give it a little bit of a washing. It's got a lot of shop dust on it. And yeah, we don't quite have the right rain cap on there. We've got a, what is that, a Stanley muffler? That's a Stanley muffler, and we can't seem to find the top stack assembly to go on there. It is a 2 1/4 OD pipe on the top, and I'm gonna have to find a does that move up and down? Does it move the way it should? Okay, I don't know where that rain cap came from, but it looks like some, I don't know. We've got a 5-gallon pail full of rain caps, and that was in our collection. So it is what it is. It looks like something that belongs on a Ford 8N or something. That's what it looks like. But that is a heavy duty one. That's got an actual bolt. Looks like a 5/16 bolt that holds the actual rain cap in. Usually they had a rivet in them, and the rivet would wear out, and then we found it was best you could just take a 16-penny nail and shove it through it and bend the end over, and that would run you for quite a while too. So we're gonna see if we can put some scratches in it and get the canopy on there. That one wouldn't fit. That one's too small.
It probably would go on there. I think that's the right.
This is what I'm talking about. These ones here, they've got a bushing inside the actual rain cap itself. They've got this rivet in there. Usually the rivet would pop off or wear out on one side, and you could take a 16-penny nail, and that would be the same diameter as the rain cap itself. But this is what's supposed to be on there, or was on there, but this is I believe this is a 2-inch. And being that we're running aftermarket muffler, we're dealing with aftermarket problems. So let's go ahead. Do you think we can get the canopy on? Have a couple more beers first? Yeah. What do you think about that, Nate? Yeah, we had a visitor stop in a little while ago. Dropped off a 30 rack of blue. Yeah, guy from Shenango County. You don't like that rain cap? I don't like it either. But you know what? We can leave it on there for now. That is goofy as hell looking. It would look good on like, oh, an international, like a, what would that be? Like an 806 or something? It's got 806 written all over. Actually, Ford, an 8N. Yeah, so there you go. All right, let's get this canopy on there. Well, this is what you call the rollover protective structure, otherwise known as a canopy. There's a yellow top down in there, and as you can see, this has been up in the hay barn, and it's been up there just long enough for the dust to have collected on it, and the chaff, and everything else. So we're going to go ahead and put this together. This is brand new, by the way. I don't remember where Jared bought this from, but maybe we can find some paperwork here. Iron Bull. So this has got the foam insert in the top of it as well. And it is the authentic canopy structure that they put on these tractors back in the day. So we're going to see if we can get this bolted together and get it up on the tractor there. We've got the use of the gantry if we need to do that. We're not sure if it's going to be easiest to bolt the canopy to the ROPS and put it all on as one, or put the ROPS on first, then put the canopy on top of that. So we're just going to have to see how things go here, and hopefully we don't add any scratches to the old girl. Well, we just ended up bolting the roll bar structure to the actual canopy top, and this is actually going better than we thought it was going to. So now we're just going to very carefully back up with the forklift and come in on the tractor itself. Hey, why don't you move this tractor ahead, Jared, so I got room to swing that. Well, there she is. We're just tightening up the bolts now. There is a total of 5 bolts on each side, 2 in the front, 3 in the back. They give you the plate that goes down in underneath the axle, and then the top plate is threaded we had to unbolt the work lights off of the rear in order to get that to guide in there. So we were kind of worried about how we were going to exactly put that on there, and I'm glad we put everything together all as one instead of trying to balance that damn yellow part up on top of the actual roll bar thing itself. So we just got to tighten the bolts up on the other side, and then we've got to get some decals on it here. That muffler bothers me. We've got to get a rain cap on that, or not a rain cap, but a stack on there. So
You just put the right rain cap on it. I think it looks good like that.
yeah. Well, we got the work all done on this 4020. We just ended up putting the decals on here yesterday. Put the muffler stack on there. We've got a slow moving vehicle sign on the back of it, and now we're gonna hook it to the tedder. Everything is completely done, and it is about time. So that's gonna do it for this video, folks. We'll come at you with an authentic 4020 video here once we get actually using it. We've gotten about 2¼ inches of rain here in the last 3 days, and we've got a bunch of hay laying. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hook this on the new tedder and Ted with this one and the 4320. We got the tedder over there, which doesn't look new anymore. And yeah, so it come out decent. It's yeah, been a long time trying to get this done, just because of other things that we have had to work on here. So that's gonna do it for this video, folks. I want to thank you for watching, and we will catch you at the next video.